some sort of kind of public area, maybe at least at like a friend's place with a couple of others gathered. Or, maybe they're at a restaurant, cheersing, like in the picture. But we have someone who's talking to professional or social individuals, and they use the wrong name or they slip up and admit something that they shouldn't have, like, oh, no, that wasn't a work trip. Wait, I can't say that. This is someone who I feel is careless with their words in front of a group of people regarding the fact that they have not been faithful to the person that they're likely married to or have children with. So let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime time. And I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. If you're interested in a personal reading, I would love to do one for you. My email address is wickedonestarot@gmail.com. It's in the description box, as is more information on how to become a member. Thank you to the current members. I think we will start with the Tattoo Tarot. What else do we have? What else do we have? We have the Three of Wands, Six of Wands in the reverse, and the Ace of Swords in the reverse. This is what, yeah, they say something, and it's because this person's on their mind, but it's not the person they're supposed to be talking about. So it's like this, I don't know if we can call it a Freudian slip, but that moment where you say something in front of others and you're like, oh, oops, did I do that? And it exposes something they'd actually been trying to keep secret. We have the High Priestess, a secret. So this is someone telling on themselves. This is someone who slips up. Maybe they've had a few drinks. Maybe they're just a little bit stressed out, so they lose track of what they're supposed to say and what they're not supposed to say. But now this person who has gone to great lengths to hide a situation or to keep up appearances has just ruined that by saying something wrong. Saying the wrong name, talking about the wrong restaurant or city. But now they are stuck and unable to explain what was going on. So they're just trying to convince people that they messed up. Oh, no, there's not another person. I'm married. Ooh, crap. It's hot in here. Maybe I need to leave, Oh, I remember you. Hello, DDT. How are you doing? Hello, forefather. What's up? We have the Queen of Wands and the Ace of Wands in the reverse. I wasn't supposed to tell everyone that that's something that has been on my mind, or that that's somebody that I was seeing, or that that's where I was. Oops. Now I'm in trouble. So I do feel like there's a risk here of someone going through a divorce or having some pretty significant changes to their reputation or their circumstances, like living situation, because of this very public, or like there are definitely witnesses, faux pas, or saying something you shouldn't. It's like, ooh, I'll see myself out. Everyone hate me now? Okay. Maybe there's always some suspicion that this was happening anyways, and then this is the confirmation. But it does feel like now this person's worried about whether they have to make some sort of like public apology. Let's go with the Noisy Tarot. Hello, Justin. Probably not on my channel. That's not what we're here for. Hello, Nico. How are you doing? Merry Christmas. Hello, Z. How are you doing? Hello, Diego. How's your day? We have the Five of Pentacles in the reverse, Three of Wands, and Temperance in the reverse. Another Three of Wands. I feel like this is someone who feels the need to have some sort of damage control. There's too much at risk. I don't want to lose this relationship, or I don't want to lose like my social standing. So it's like they're trying to address this problem after they ran away, or after they were like clearly embarrassed and uncomfortable. So I don't know that they're very effective. Temperance in the reverse. It's like when somebody gives you an excuse, but it doesn't really line up. Like, hey, you called in sick to work yesterday, but then I saw a social media post about you being at happy hour with your friends. That's a little weird, right? And then someone's like, oh yeah, no, it was just a 24-hour flu and I was good by that point. The math doesn't math because they had just gotten sick. You know, it's just like there's something here where someone's trying to address what they said and make it seem like it's really not that big of a deal, or they just remembered something wrong. But I feel like now there's already too many people who are wondering if this is in fact an omission that had been admitted, right? On accident. Wondering how truthful their statement was. So I feel like there's already prying eyes, people trying to be like an internet sleuth and figure this out. Hello, media, how are you doing? Hello, Meg. I'm sorry that you went through that. Alfeo, huh? Hello, Erin. How are you doing? We have Knight of Swords in the reverse and the Knight of Cups. Yeah, this is an impulsive comment, or someone who may have been a little bit tipsy, someone who felt like they could let their guard down, but they did so a little bit too much, and they admitted this affair or this flirtation, this lapse in good judgment, and now all of these other consequences are hitting at the same time because it was kind of public. King of Pentacles in the reverse. So I feel like there's someone here who is starting the divorce process. And there are a lot of people who feel like they need to extend support or show their support of this Empress, the person who has been wronged or who is in that relationship. I don't really like that this person feels like they're being picked on, because it's really just the truth of their behavior being exposed. With this King of Pentacles in the reverse, there has been a lack of stability or security in this relationship for a while, and yet this Empress is still in the upright. This is someone who has, I don't know, tried to do the right thing by their obligation, but they're in a relationship with someone who has not. Hello, Nat. How are you doing? Thank you for the tip, Nat. What are David's future intentions? Towards you. Oh, happy holidays to you as well. Why the question mark, Erin? This is the Marigold Tarot, if I did not mention that. We have the Seven of Wands, the King of Rings or King of Pentacles in the reverse, Two of Cups, and the Two of Pentacles. See, this is someone whose business or like professional career is being impacted in addition to their romantic life. So because of how they said this thing or where they were, who was listening, there's like added fallout. It's kind of making me think of the Coldplay concert thing. Like, maybe if you'd been able to figure out how to be a little bit more discreet, there wouldn't have been such a, you know, wild impact to the things that you care about. But we have this person now who is feeling like both their romantic relationship and their professional career is impacted by the fact that they are this King of Pentacles in the reverse, someone who cannot offer stability in this relationship. Maybe it's because they were interacting inappropriately with a coworker or someone that worked for them. But it's a situation that isolates them from the people who would normally be like, oh, don't worry about it. You're a great person. Even though you make a bunch of bad decisions, you're wonderful. No, now they're like alone with their thoughts. Now they're thinking about the consequences of their behavior, and there's no one there to be like, oh, it's going to be just fine. So they're realizing maybe their actions have led them to this kind of outcome. Hello, Baby Yoda. Hello, Grindhard. How are we doing today? Hello, B6H. What's going on? Thank you, Alphabet. So we have the Hanged Man. Now this is someone who is having to see how different life is with a different reputation, a different network of friends, a different reality, a different living situation. It's like they've had to move off of Easy Street. They don't get to live there anymore. Okay, so if it's Easy Street, what would be the counterpart? Hard Rocky Cliff Boulevard. And they never repair the asphalt, so you might like damage your tires in the potholes, or maybe there's like no guardrails. That's something that boggles my mind about Tennessee, actually. This is someone who's all of a sudden like living life in a much more difficult, challenging way because it's like they uttered like 3-4 words and it ruined everything because people knew what it meant. People knew it was a thing that could have actually been happening. I feel like this person loses their job or resigns because they feel like there's really no other option. And they may have to go back to something they had been doing at a much younger age. So this is a bit of a fall from grace, right? Hello, Taj. How are you doing? Hello, Nurjahan. How are you doing? Hello, Loa. What's up? Hello, Zats. Hello, April. Hello, Rachel. Sorry, guys. I'm struggling to keep track of who I've said hello to on this second stream because it was only like a 10-minute interval in between. We've got the Four of Swords in the reverse and the Page of Wands in the reverse. There's nothing this person can do or say to improve upon the judgments that have been made on them because they are the person who said it. They're the person who really like stirred up the drama or led people to like their secret. Oh, I don't know if I can tell that story, but that's such a great... Okay, I'm going to try to do this discreetly because I know YouTube is, you know, concerned. But there was something a while back where some chick was taking pictures with the family. I don't know if it was like Easter or Mother's Day or what, but on the back of the phone was a small plastic bag of substance that was illegal. And as they're taking the picture of like the lineup of family, everyone's reacting to what they can see on the back of the phone. It's like that, right? Like, what am I going to say at this point? You got me. Like, this person doesn't really have an option to take back what they said. They've stepped in it. There's no way to take that back. Spilled milk, right? Three of Swords in the reverse. So I guess I have to do something to work to repair the fact that my reputation now is somebody who is capable of betraying others or doesn't follow the rules. I mean, especially if this is like an office affair, there was likely some sort of, limitation placed on employees, especially if this was like a direct report, right? So now we have this High Priestess Empress energy. It does not need to be a woman, but this is the person who was in this relationship with the King of Pentacles in the reverse. Now it's feeling like things are improving for this Empress High Priestess because the secret coming out, it just makes people feel more loyal to this Empress or want to make sure that things go well for them. So it feels like the community is rallying around this individual after this marriage ends. Yes, feel free to objectify the like button. And thank you for subscribing. What else do we have? This is the situations deck, by the way. We've got a drama queen. So again, this is why we don't pay too close attention to gender in tarot. We've got the divine masculine, but this is the drama queen. So we've got a female and a male reference to this energy. This is somebody who, doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman, doesn't matter how they identify, they are the one who called themselves out in public. They made it clear that they were not being faithful in their relationship, and they didn't want to admit to themselves that when this information comes out, especially since they're the one who say something, that there's not a lot of things that can be done to remedy this other than actually just like working on yourself, or I don't know, moving away. So this is someone who's like caged by their own words. Their own actions have put them as kind of like an outcast in this society. So we have this interlude, pause, timing factor, legal, court, paperwork filed. This is probably the divorce. And now we have this King of Pentacles in the reverse, daydreaming about what they can do to make things even with this Empress. But that's not really how I would describe it. That's how they think it is. They're in denial, right? This is someone who may feel like everything they had has been lost because of the relationship ending. So they want to find some way to get back at this Empress or High Priestess. Even though, like, what has this person done wrong? Like, they've lost this relationship because they did not honor it or respect it, or because they broke the fidelity clause, right? But this is someone who's thinking about how they can get revenge or find a way to get where they feel a little bit better about the ending that happened with this person. The problem is they should be spending their time working on themselves. The only way they change how people view them is if they actually demonstrate that they've learned a lesson and they've like worked on themselves. And instead they're investing their energy in, how can I make my ex look bad? Like, when you've done something that people in general think is pretty low or unfair, or like you shouldn't have done that, if you are so invested in just making it look like that person deserved it, you're still not impacting how people view you, in my opinion. Feel free to discuss. But we've got someone focusing on the wrong things here. They're like, people really don't like me. Maybe I'll just make sure they don't like anybody else either. Ha ha! Problem solved. Not everybody's gonna like me, right? No, they're not. Because these are people who have gotten closer to the Empress. And I feel like they've learned more about this King of Pentacles in the reverse, who may have at first or for a long time been quite successful at keeping their double life or their not so great intentions secret. But now, because they've kind of stirred the pot for themselves, We have people who have asked a few more questions or heard about other affairs or heard about other things that were not very kind that this person did. Or if this was a workplace affair, there's more things that the employer was able to dig up and realize because this person was put under a magnifying glass. This has been detrimental because of their own actions, but also because they are focusing on the wrong, like, how to respond to this, right? They need, what's that scandal chick's name? Was it Olivia? Because they're going about it all wrong. They're like, oh, goody, now I get to have some revenge on the person that the entire community has decided didn't deserve what I did to them. It's childish. So let's get a few from the Poe Tarot. Yes, I agree, Rachel. Hello, Krister, how are you doing? We have the Nine of Quills or Nine of Swords, the Ace of Wands or Ace of Candles, and the Hermit. Worth pointing out that the Hermit is also number 9 in the major arcana, so we have 2 9s. It is impossible to say how first the idea entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. This is the retribution, the revenge that the, what are we calling you? King of Pentacles in the reverse. Okay, so nobody likes me anymore. Everyone's mad at me because, you know, I did that thing or whatever. I'm going to find a way to mess with this Empress High Priestess, and it'll make me feel better about the fact that people don't like me as much. So I feel like this is very like Count of Monte Cristo, although probably more people were rooting for that count. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing, doubting, dreaming dreams no mortal ever dared to dream before. So we have this new beginning that's happening for the Empress High Priestess. It could even be a new romance, or maybe they found a new place to live. Maybe they have started a new business. But we have this this King of Pentacles in the reverse, watching and collecting information, feeling like now when they have a moment, they can expose some secret of this High Priestess Empress or impact the reputation of them. Not one of all the crowd to pry into thine hour of secrecy. Be silent in that solitude. So everyone's abandoned me. No one wants to be my friend. Everyone hates me because of the divorce and the fact that I cheated on my partner. I lost my job maybe because there were some, you know, complications or some involvement with my place of business, right? So I have to get some sort of revenge because my entire life has completely collapsed because of the situation. So if there is a new relationship or if there is some new like work venture, if there's something here that I can mess up for this Empress High Priestess in their new beginning, then that's what I'm going to put my energy into instead of like, oh, I don't know, like working on who I am as a person. Just seems like so much more work, right? No, it would actually be a much more effective use of their energy. I feel like they're going to have someone in their life, even if it's a complete stranger who just picks up on their energy. They're going to have someone who says, it is a much better use of your time to be rebuilding what you need in your life than trying to undo what's going on in someone else's, right? But it doesn't seem like this King of Pentacles in the reverse is really seeing that. Hopefully this kind stranger or friend is able to convince them. They who dream by day are cognizant of many things which escape those who only dream by night. Which I think speaks to those good intentions. If you are enlightened, if you are focused on becoming a better person, the pursuits that you choose, the way that you invest your time or energy, it just looks different. You're going to be 9 times out of 10 more focused on what I can do to improve my own life for, you know, the next 5 years or 10 years. What is it that I can finally address or make better for myself? The people who are out here trying to cause problems for others probably aren't going to be as dedicated to that spiritual path or journey, right? So let's just take a pulse on that, shall we? This is the voyage of the soul. Yeah, was that like the, yo, that was the triple block. And we all chose the same amount of time. Oh, April and Rachel, I love y'all. Isn't that cute? It's like we were twinsies. All right, what else do we have? Vivid, imagination, lucidity, creativity, visions, and clairvoyance. And communication. There is someone here who is a good example or a good role model, and they're saying, hey, it's really great that you're creative and you've come up with this like wild plan to try to get back at your ex. But if you take a moment and remember that the reason you're miserable right now, or the reason that things are not great right now, is because you were not very nice to your ex, then maybe the way to repair that is to not cause further damage, right? Right? You see where I'm going with this? But I'm not sure the King of Pentacles in the reverse is listening to this friend. It's like this friend is saying, I actually don't think you need more cowbell. I think that's totally enough cowbell, and you got into trouble with how much cowbell you already used, so put the cowbell down. This is someone who's trying to help the King of Pentacles realize you need to be working on yourself and not be distracted by other people's issues, and let go of that negativity instead, right? Like learn some yoga, go to the gym, right? Find a different way to get that energy out of you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Zats. Hello, Skimmy. Oh yeah, no, I did not give myself much of a break, but that's okay. So we've got spirits. I think this intervener, the person who's trying to get the King of Pentacles in the reverse to not be a wiener. I'm sorry, it rhymed. I had to say it. They're like, please, King of Pentacles in the reverse, please don't make a fool of yourself when you're trying to pick yourself up after you just tripped. Oh, this is a great segue to tell you my favorite story about how awful I am at walking. So granted, this was on New Year's, and I had drank a bottle of champagne. I think I was literally 21. I went to this bar with my best friend, and I was at the top of the stairs because it was a 2-story bar, and I fell all the way down the stairs, okay, you guys? And I felt like I needed to prove to everyone in that bar that saw me make a complete of myself. I felt like I needed to prove to everyone that I was fully capable of walking. After they all did, right? Like, watched me. Because it's in the middle of the club. It's not like some back hallway. So I decided to dance my way out of the bar, and I literally within like 40 seconds, I trip on a rug and fall a second time in front of the entire bar. That's what this person's doing. They're like, oh, what can I do to make everyone who doesn't like me right now, or who thinks I can't walk properly, what can I do to prove to them? And then they mess it up again. This person is placed in the King of Pentacles in the reverse life to be like, hey, how are your bruises healing? Yeah, you still feeling a little rough over what happened the other day? Okay, well, I'm here to make sure that you don't do that same thing again, but like with a different flavor, right? Like the first one was stairs and then you were dancing. That's cute. You know, you like improvised a little bit. They're like, can you please just like not make things worse for yourself? And this King of Pentacles is in the reverse is like, but revenge. I'll feel better if somebody feels worse. And this person's like, no, you won't. You'll only make more problems for yourself. So it's about whether or not they're going to listen to this and actually take the guidance and stop being a twat. Is it time for a new chapter in your life, King of Pentacles in the reverse, where instead of lashing out at others or trying to make your problems about how other people wronged you, can we instead embrace accountability, acknowledge that maybe that fallout was because of the choices that you had made, and that you have an opportunity to reinvent yourself or be a better person the next time around, right? Prove to others that you've learned your lesson. That's what this person who's intervening, even if they don't even know this King of Pentacles that well, they're suggesting a different path when someone is very focused on revenge, and that is not the right path. So let's see what we get from the Energy Oracle, and then I'm going to dive into personal questions. Hello, James. This is the tail end of the general reading, but I do take personal questions starting in a couple minutes with priority to those who tip or donate. You can also donate memberships. Hello, Samuel. How are you doing? See, that's not really what it's about, but you'll figure that out. So we have someone who is being talked to about the value of walking away from a fight. You don't need to get into a fight with the rug and trip on it. You don't need to prove to everyone that you are smarter than this person. You just need to prove that you're willing to work on yourself. And that's when the abundance comes to you. That's when things improve for you. So this is someone really trying to help this King of Pentacles in the reverse see things differently and get to a better place. Use their time and energy in a more effective way. So this is the Magician. This is the person who's providing the guidance. Like, hey, there's a better way to do that. You're about to use all your energy on the wrong thing, you know? It's like if you've just run a marathon and you have to go to the parking ramp and find your car, and someone says, hey, you don't need to like go up those stairs. There's an elevator right there. Now, some of you want to go on the stairs, and I admire you for that. But if you've just run a marathon, you might want that elevator. This is someone who's like, hey, don't make things worse for yourself. Here's how you can, like, not have things be awful or not look like a jerk. The hostilities and the negative energy is only going to make it more difficult for you to reestablish your reputation or be able to, like, avoid moving away, basically, right? All right, let's move on to the personal questions. Thank you, James. If in the near future things will get better for my family. So I'm writing that down real quick, James. Thank you for the tip. I'm going to do Nat's question, and then I will get to your question. You're so welcome. And thank you for the likes and the subscribes, everyone. Hello, Nathan. So for Nat, we've got the Egyptian Tarot. What are David's future intentions towards Nat? Six of Wands, Wheel of Fortune, High Priestess, and the Seven of Wands in the reverse. This feels to me like someone who moves into a more genuine kind of category, if you will. Right now, I feel like someone's a little bit too focused on what can I do to win? What can I do to like not have to do this? Or what's like almost like the easier path. And we have a shift coming up in the next, I would say, next 2 months. Hopefully it's more like 2 weeks. But we have someone here who's shifting from that perception to, you know what, I think what's important is if I'm able to be vulnerable and show like who I really am to this person. So we have vulnerability and true connection as the future intention, but that hasn't developed yet. Right now we have someone who's still focused on how can I get what I want kind of thing, right? A little bit more short-term gratification, or a little bit more short-sighted, I would say. We have Judgment in the reverse, Ten of Swords in the reverse, Eight of Swords. There is some sort of recovery or change in perception that happens after a bad judgment call. Now, this could literally be, you know, creating distance between the two of you, having that absence or that distance between the two of you could help this person to see things differently. Or there could be something that is unrelated to the two of you that helps them understand better how they need to approach things. But yeah, this is definitely in the future and changes because of a mistake that they make. And then they understand or they see things a little bit more clearly and become this King of Swords. So I definitely feel like we've got some introspection that's going to happen for David in the next couple of months. Let's go with the Pulp Tarot for James. We've got, will things be better or get better in the near future for James's family? Yes, but we have the Seven of Swords with the Queen of Wands in the reverse. There is something here that you need to be mindful of. A bad actor, someone you can't trust, who would seek to delay this or would minimize it because they feel like you have to do things a certain way. Is this a family member? This is a family member. And I feel like there's something here about making sure you follow what you feel makes sense, taking someone else's advice over this family member's advice, perhaps, because this is someone who feels like you have to do something a certain way, and I don't think they're right about it. Empress, King of Swords in the reverse. Trust your intuition over what this person says. I feel like they're just being a little bit demanding or unyielding. They're not able to appreciate that there's someone here with some actual expertise. And, oh, I sure hope so. Thank you, April. Let me get that adjust for you right now. Will life get better for 2026 for April? Seven of Pentacles. Yes, this is like a ramp up period for you. A little bit better in increments, right? Leveling up. With the Four of Cups, I do feel like there's something here that you need to distance yourself from that enables 2026 to be a better year for you. This would be a change in behavior or someone that you feel you don't want to repeat a cycle with. But with the Six of Wands, I see there being a victory or a celebration for you and being able to achieve something that you've been working towards for a while, whether that's emotional stability, financial security, or feeling like you have the soul tribe that you want. There's this like air of opportunity for you. The concern is to make sure that you distance yourself from someone who seems to be a bit overly negative or critical. And it could be, you know, oh, I'm related to you, but, you know, I'm just not going to take your criticisms as seriously, or I'm not going to let you influence my confidence on whether or not I can achieve this or do that. Hello, Javier. How are you doing? And with the Nine of Pentacles, I see your intuition improving, perhaps unexpectedly and in a way that may kind of cause a little bit of a headache for you. So be prepared in 2026 to maybe need to take like a mental health day, or maybe need to, you know, take a moment to read a few books or meditate. There's going to be a shift here, and you're going to have access to information that you did not before. It may be in a new way, or it may be in, it's like turning up the volume on the radio station, right? I don't know why I said radio station. I never used the radio. Anyways, you're going to have a clearer frequency, okay? So prepare for that, or be ready to maybe find more time in nature, or find a way to feel like you're able to get the rest that you need with that. So yeah, I think it's better, but you do have to make sure that you're able to go no contact or low contact, or at least like kind of dismiss somebody who might have kind of a negative take on your approach. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. I love you all. Thank you for the likes and the subscribes. Thank you for hyping the video if you're able to, and I will see you on the next reading. Toodles.